The difference between direct and indirect democracy is fairly simple. In a direct democracy, citizens make decisions directly by proposing laws or referendums on laws which are disliked, voting to determine who enters public office, and recalling public officials who are not doing their jobs. An indirect democracy, on the other hand, uses a small group of officials to make decisions of importance on behalf of their constituents. In both cases, the input of the people is the cornerstone of the government, but the government is run in different ways. A classic example of a direct democracy is the town meeting. Many cities around New England continue to hold town meetings, annual events where all citizens who want to can attend to vote on issues of importance to the community. At a town meeting, citizens might decide how to allocate funds in the community, or they may propose new laws to make the community run more smoothly. A well-known example of indirect democracy is a house of legislature such as the United States Senate. Members of a legislature are typically elected by constituents, although they may also be appointed, depending on how their government is run. These individuals are expected to make decisions on behalf of all citizens, but the voices of individual citizens are not part of the voting process, although citizens may testify at hearings on laws of interest, and they are encouraged to contact their representatives about issues of concern. Direct and indirect democracies both have their place. A direct democracy works best in a small community with actively involved citizens, making it ideal for something like a small town in New England, but less suited to a major city. Indirect democracy creates a more streamlined and manageable process through experienced elected officials. However, it also relies on active and engaged citizens. In order for a direct democracy to work well, citizens need to be educated and interested, actively participating in votes and other events where their opinion is solicited. Many nations try to create a blend of both types of democracy. For example, many states in the United States have an initiative and referendum system, which is a form of direct democracy. These systems allow individual voters to get issues on the ballot with the support of signatures from other voters, creating a forum where people can speak up about issues of concern to them and actively shape their governments. Essentially, the difference between direct and indirect democracy can be highlighted in the names of these two different systems of democracy. Direct democracies demand direct participation from members of society, while indirect democracies rely on indirect participation. Direct and indirect democracy both also must rely on checks and balances which are designed to ensure that no officials overstep their bounds. Caram is one of the world's favorite indoor board games. The game is believed to have originated hundreds of years ago. Although the precise region where Caram originated is unknown, it is thought that it was first played in either India or Asia. Caram is a game that requires skill, practice and determination. It can be played at all ages and its popularity is steadily growing. Although Caram is classified as an indoor game, it requires elements of both physical and mental skill. It is more similar to marbles or air hockey than it is to other board games such as Monopoly. It is a portable game, and because of its size, it can be played almost anywhere. Caram's popularity has grown so much that there are tournaments held by federations all over the world. Caram can be played by 2, 3 or 4 players. If there are 2 players, then they sit opposite each other. In a game with 4 players, the players form teams. If there are 3 players, they are able to play against each other. Caram is played on a wooden board with 4 pockets. The board has a rectangular line around the perimeter, which is the baseline from which players make their shots. The game pieces involved, coins, are flicked by the striker, similar to the cue ball that is shot in pool. The object of the game is to sink all of your pieces before your opponent manages to sink theirs. Your turn to shoot continues as long as you keep sinking your pieces. All combinations of shots count in the game. Points are counted at the end of each round. Both skill and luck are big elements of this game. A game consists of 8 boards or 25 points, whichever comes first. There are a few basic guidelines to remember when playing Caram. Sinking your striker will cost you your turn and 1 piece, and if a piece jumps off of the board it is placed on the center spot. If a piece lands on its end or overlaps, it is left that way. If you sink your opponent's piece, you lose your turn, and if you sink their last piece, you lose the board and 3 points. There are many more rules and laws to Caram, as adopted by the International Caram Federation. Once you have learned the rules and practiced enough, you will find the game easy to play and a lot of fun.